Hello, good morning children. How are you all? Today in this video I am going to explain class 7 history 6th chapter towns, traders and craft persons. Towns, traders and craft persons. How are the towns and traders and craft persons? What was the life of these people you are going to learn in this chapter. What would a traveler visiting a medieval town expect to find? So, in the medieval period, if a traveler is moving, what he will find? What would a traveler he will find? This would depend on what kind of a town it was. So, see, suppose if we are going to metropolitan cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, like that means they are all developed industrial areas. If we go to Tirupati, how it will be? Tirupati is famous for this Lord Venkateshwara temple. Like that, every town has particular feature will be there. So, here the traveler's feelings also, they will depend on what type of town it was. This would depend on what kind of a town it was. A temple town, an administrative center, a commercial town, or a port town. To name just some possibilities. Temple town means temples, more temples will be there. Or otherwise, administrative center means capital cities will be there. A commercial town means all the business things will go on there. A port town means ocean will be there, and through those beaches, these ports, export and imports will go on. So, it depends on the type of the town. In fact, many towns combined several functions. They were administrative centers. So all these activities together in one place it happened means then we can say that they are administrative centers. Temple towns as well as centers of commercial activities and crafts production. So here also they have given picture children about some these important towns. Either they are temple towns, administrative centers, port towns or business centers. Whatever it may be, these are all the main centers by that time. Next. Administrative centers. Let's see that. You read about the Chola dynasty in chapter 2. Let's travel in our imagination to Tanjavur, the capital of the Cholas. So, Cholas capital, Tanjavur, they were saying Cholas capital, Tanjavur. You know already Tanjavur is famous for temples. Okay. The capital of the Cholas as it was 1,000 years ago. So, this Tanjavur was capital of the Cholas 1,000 years ago. The perennial river Kaveri flows near this beautiful town. So, near this beautiful town, which river flows? River Kaveri. One hears the bells of the Rajarajeshwara temple built by King Rajarajeshwara, Rajaraja Chola. So, here in Tanjavur, Rajaraja Chola, Rajaraja 1, he has constructed Rajaraja Chola, we can say him Rajaraja 1, he has constructed Rajarajeshwara temple. Rajarajeshwara temple. All the people in the town, they can hear the ringing bells of this temple. The townspeople are all praised for its architect Kunjaramallan Rajaraja Peruntachan. So, who was the architect of this Rajarajeshwara temple? Kunjaramallan Rajaraja Peruntachan. All of these people, they have admired of his architect skill, how much in those 1,000 years ago only, how much architect he has shown in the construction of this Rajarajeshwara temple. And he has proudly carved his name on the temple walls. On the temple walls, he has carved his name also, that I was the architect of this temple. What was the name of this architect? Kunjaramallan Rajaraja Peruntachan. Inside, is a massive Shivalinga. So in this temple, a big Shivalinga was there. Massive means huge Shivalinga was there. That means this temple was Shiva, Lord Shiva's temple. Besides the temple, there are palaces with mandapas or pavilions. So beside the temple, there are mandapas or pavilions. Pavilions means open places. Kings hold court in these mandapas, issuing orders to their subordinates. So in those mandapas, the kings used to gather, and kings and people used to gather, and king issued his orders to their subordinates. There are also barracks for the army. So in those pavilions, the barracks also for the army purposes. The town is bustling with markets selling grain, spices, cloth and jewelry. So if the Cholas kingdom, they were Cholas, they have so much wealthier kings. So in the town also so much production is there. That's why crops, grains and cloth, jewelry. So with all these items, the markets also filled with them. Water supply for the town comes from wells and tanks. The Saliya weavers of Tanjavur and the nearby town of Urayur are busy producing cloth for flags to be used in the temple festival, fine cottons for the king and nobility, and coarse cotton for the masses. So here in Tanjavur and Urayur, they used to produce cotton, and with this fine cotton, all the people, the weavers of these Saliya weavers, they were busy in making cloths, temples for the and temple festival clothes. All these in making, all these people were very busy. Not only for the temple purpose, kings and his noble persons, his family members, all the ministers, for them, they used to weave clothes for the people. Noble people, not common people. Some distance away at Swami Malai, the Sthapatis or sculptors are making exquisite bronze idols and tall ornamental bell metal lamps. So weavers were busy, and at the same time sculptors, that means who used to make the puja items with metals, they were called as sculptors. They are also busy in making the things, metal things. Next, temple towns and pilgrimage centers. Tanjavur is also an example of a temple town. So as we said already, in Tanjavur, this Rajarajeshwara temple, so we can say this Tanjavur is a temple town. Temple towns represent a very important pattern of urbanization, the process by which cities develop. So urbanization means becoming town. How they will become? More and more employment, more and more shops, industries and production. If it increases, it develops very much, means then we can say that urbanization happened there. Then it becomes like town. Now how our Tenali is developing like that. Next, temples were often central to the economy and society. Rivers built temples. Rulers built temples to demonstrate their devotion to various deities. We know already why these rulers, in the previous classes you have learnt, to show their richness, their wealthiness, their power, they used it to construct, and they use it to show their devotion to that particular lord. They constructed huge temples. They also endowed temples with grants of land and money to carry out elaborate rituals, feed pilgrims and praise and celebrate festivals. So they have not left the temples after constructing and saved, but they have given some grants of land also. Why they have given some land? To maintain the temple. Lands they have given to maintain temples. For the temple maintenance, how many workers will work? Yes or not? Priests will be there, and these garland makers will be there, and pilgrims will come. They use it to visit the temples. For them they have to feed. To complete all the needs, the kings, they have given land grants to the temples. Pilgrims who flock to the temples also made donations. See, Suppose if we go to Tirupati or some other holy places, means what we will do? There we will donate some amount. According to our earnings, we will donate some amount to the Lord. So what they will do? With the money, they will maintain the temples. So here what they are going to say? King's lands will be there and additional income, the donations of the pilgrims. Next, bronze, bell metal and the last wax technique. Here they have given a technique, that means in olden days how they have prepared these models, idols of the gods. I will explain in the Google Meet, children. Next, temple authorities used their wealth to finance trade and banking. Gradually, a large number of priests, workers, artisans, traders, etc. settled near the temple to cater to its needs and those of the pilgrims. So, all these people, who were they? Priests, workers, artisans, traders, all these people, they used to settle down near the temple to complete the needs of the temple actions. Thus grew temple towns. So if a big temple is there, means all the people, those servants and workers who used to cater the needs of the people, they settle in particular place. So it will become a community there and temple town will develop there. Towns emerged around temples such as those of Bhillava Swamin, Bhilsa or Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh. So, for example, this Bhillava Swamin they have given, which is in Madhya Pradesh. And Somnath in Gujarat. In Gujarat, already in the previous class you have learned, Muhammad Ghazni, he has looted 17 times this Somnath temple, which was in Gujarat. Other important temple towns included Kanchipuram and Madurai in Tamil Nadu and Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. So, this Bhillava Swamin, Somanath, Kanchipuram, Madurai and Tirupati, all these were the examples of temple towns. Next, pilgrimage centers also slowly developed into townships. So, first of all, they were pilgrimage towns. Afterwards, as that town urbanization is developing, they developed into townships also. That means town will develop. Why? Because so many people to cater the needs of the temple, so many people will come and settle down. Thus, town will develop. Vrindavan and Tiruvannamalai are examples of two such towns. So, how these temple towns became townships, they were given two examples. One is Vrindavan and the second one is Tiruvannamalai, which is in Tamil Nadu. Ajmer was the capital of the Chauhan kings in the 12th century and later became the Suba headquarters under the Mughals. So, in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Ajmer was there. It was also a temple town. Later, it became the Suba headquarters of the Mughals. Afterwards, after the Cholas and afterwards, Mughal kingdoms came, Mughal rulers. So, it became this Ajmer as the Suba headquarters. Their kingdoms were called as Subedar, Subas. So, it became Suba headquarters. It provides an excellent example of religious coexistence. Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, the celebrated Sufi saint who settled there in the 12th century, attracted devotees from all creeds. So, in this Ajmer, Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. So, he has attracted so many pilgrims and he settled down in Ajmer. He was a Sufi saint. Okay, Muslim saint. Near Ajmer is a lake, Pushkar, which has attracted pilgrims from ancient times. So, in this place, Ajmer, there was a lake also there. What is the name of that lake? Pushkar. So, that also attracted so many pilgrims. Next, a network of small towns. From the 8th century onwards, the subcontinent was dotted with several small towns. These probably emerged from large villages. Large villages, they will turn into small towns after developing. They usually had a mandapika or mandi of later times. Mandi means market, shop, to which nearby villagers brought their produce to sell. So all these farmers or their craft persons, they will take their produce to that mandi. Mandi means, I said already, market. They also had market streets called hatta, lined with shops. Besides, there were streets for different kinds of artisans such as potters, oil pressers, sugar makers, toddy makers, smiths, stone masons, etc. So all these shops in those places, hattas, there all these types of shops will be there, and the people, craft persons and the farmers, they will go and keep their produce there and they will sell in the hattas. While some traders lived in the town, others traveled from town to town. Some used to make shops there and they settle there and they will sell their goods. But some others, they will move, they carry their produce from one place to another place, and the towns. Many came from far and near to these towns to buy local articles and sell products of distant places like horses, salt, camphor, saffron, betel nut, and spices like pepper. So all these produces, if these things are not available in other places, means they use it to carry from here to there and they will sell there for high prices and they will come back to their places. Like this, market activities gone. Usually, a Samanta or in latter times a Jamindar built a fortified palace in or near these towns. So, in these towns, near these towns, a king, Samantas or Jamindars, they used to construct their houses. They levied taxes on traders, artisans, and articles of trade, and sometimes donated the right to collect these taxes to local temples which had been built by themselves or by rich merchants. So, what these Samantas they used to do, they levied taxes on these craft persons, and that taxes they used to give those temples for the maintenance. So, in this way also these temples got resources. These rites were recorded in inscriptions that have survived to this day. So, all these types of actions, how we came to know? Through the inscriptions. Okay, they were still in some inscriptions, all these types of activities. That's now, we are now learning all these things. Next, traders big and small. So, I hope till now you understood the content, children. The remaining part I will explain in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.